It's often said that we live our lives through the lives of the royal family. When they have happiness, when they have tragedy, when they have difficulties, it always reminds us in our own lives of things that have happened. And of course, we got the news earlier on today that Princess Kate has undergone abdominal surgery. It must be fairly major abdominal surgery, because she's going to be in hospital for 10 to 14 days and will not undertake any royal engagements until after Easter. And then, on the back of this, we hear that the King is to go into hospital next week for a medical procedure to deal with an enlarged prostate. It's an extraordinary set of medical news from the royal family, all to come in one day. And who better to put it in some perspective than Dickie Arbiter, former press secretary to Queen Elizabeth II. Dickie, I mean, the news on Kate seemed to come, at least to me, out of the blue. And then on top of that, we get news about the King. Is this somewhat unprecedented for two members of the immediate royal family to be going into hospital at much the same time?
It is unprecedented. I spent 12 years at Buckingham Palace, and prior to that, I was accredited to the palace for 10 years, and never were two members of the royal family in hospital. In fact, I only remember one being in hospital, and latterly, on my time, and we had Prince Philip going in and out. But no, two members, no. It was quite interesting, because before you went to the break, you talked about, do we really want to know about the King having a prostate problem? The answer is yes. You ask any organisations that are dealing with the prostate problem, they say the more publicity we can get, the better, because men are reluctant to talk about it. They're reluctant to go to their GP and say, I think I've got a problem. And the GP can sort it out. The GP can set them on the right road to recovery. So the fact that the King is transparent and talking about it, and we know that he's going to go in next week, is good news for the people dealing with prostate. And it would be good news for people who are sort of humming and hawing as to whether they should go to their GP or not. Go to your GP. We had last year, if you remember, Fergie had a mastectomy, and she talked about it. And the cancer organisations were very pleased that she talked about it. There's no stigma attached to it. And the more people that talk about it, the more people that do something about it, and publicly, then there is an easy way of combating the whole problem of prostate problems.
Dickie, I understand that point very well, having been a victim of testicular cancer myself. So I fully understand that point. But I think there are plenty of people, plenty of very high-profile men in life who have come out on this. The question I'm really asking you, and yes, the medical charities may be very pleased that we're discussing this about the King, but the question I'm really asking you is, doesn't our monarch need some degree of shielding? Doesn't there need to be something a little bit special, a little bit magical? Aren't we reducing the King to the level of a Premier League footballer or a rock star?
Yeah, I hear what you're getting at. We're intruding on the mystique of monarchy, and perhaps you're right on that. But it would have been the King's decision. He knows about medical issues. He knows the problems people have. He's got a wealth of experience as Prince of Wales with his Prince's Trust organisation, all other organisations. He has a wealth of experience. And he probably felt that, well, if people know that I've got a problem, then they will do something if they feel they have a problem and go to your GP and sort it out. So, look, you mentioned just now that you suffered from testicular cancer. You didn't have to make that public, but you did make it public. And why? Other people will listen to you and say, well, if he's done something about it, I can do something about it. And that's what the King feels.
No, I mean, Dickie, that's right. I'm happy to talk about it because too many young men die of it, because they don't go and get it looked at. But I'm Nigel Farage, I'm not the King. And that's really the point that I'm trying to make. I do think this mystique of monarchy matters. As for Kate, now we are not going to speculate. We are absolutely not going to speculate in line with her wishes and the wishes of the royal family. We're not going to do that. But it obviously, for her to be out until after Easter, that's quite a blow, isn't it, to the royal family in terms of the public appearances that they give? Because she just seems to shine, doesn't she, everywhere she goes.
she shines everywhere she goes. I mean, we saw her at Christmas at Sandringham with the rest of the family going to church. We saw her before Christmas at a carol concert at Westminster Abbey. And yes, she does shine. The fact that she has gone in for an abdominal operation, well, there are problems, abdominal operations. It takes a long time to recuperate. You ask anybody who's had one, and it does take weeks. In fact, in some cases, it can take months. And you're quite right. We should not speculate as to what it is. It could be a whole multitude of different things. And she has asked for people to respect privacy of her medical condition. So we'll do that. Yes, she is in hospital. Look, up to 14 days she could be out before. That depends on the medics at the London clinic. Recuperating at home, well, she would do that, and in the fullness of time she'll be back on duty. But it is a bit of a blow where you've got two senior members out of action at the same time. It doesn't mean the royal family is going to fold. It doesn't mean to say that things won't get done. The king will carry on doing his red boxes, even in hospital. That's not going to stop him. What might come as a bit of a shock, that one of the treatments for prostate is cut down on alcohol, and he does like his strong martinis. So whether he'll listen remains to be seen. But
well, we're told
he's going to get through it. He's going to carry on.
We're told, Dickie, that we're told that he's at Burke Hall tonight and comfortable, and perhaps he is having one of those stiff martinis. I don't know. But just a final thought on this. Years ago, we wouldn't have known anything about this, would we, until a statement had come from Buckingham Palace. And today, in the internet age and with everybody having cameras with them, no member of the royal family can go into a hospital anywhere without being photographed. It's a very, very much harder role, is it not, being a royal in 2024 than it was when the Queen took over back in 1952?
It's a harder role being a royal in 2024 with all the means of communication. It's a hard world for celebrities, hard world, say for you, for example. I mean, you go into hospital, the world will know about it. Even as you step foot in hospital, it might be something totally innocuous that you're going to visit somebody, but Nigel Farage went to hospital. So none of us is safe from prying eyes, and we just have to live with it. It's just one of the things of the 21st century.
Yep, it really is. Dickie Arbiter, absolute pleasure to have you on this day. Thank you very much indeed. Well, that was really interesting. And actually, Dickie's right. The last time I went into hospital for an operation, I went in under an assumed name and I was smuggled in through the basement just to try and keep the media away. So Dickie is not wrong.